Hello everybody, and thank you for inviting me and having me here in this important event. I'm Santiago Uribe, I'm an anthropologist. I had the privilege to study as an exchange student at Delft University in Johannesburg. I did my master's at the London School of Economics, and currently I'm doing my PhD on social sciences at the University of Antioquia in Colombia. But beyond all the titles, and being the Chief Resilience Officer and Executive Director of the Resilience Office Corporation in Medellín, which is a program that started with the help of the Rockefeller Foundation as part of the 100 Resilient City Network, with all cities like Cape Town, Durban, Porto Alegre, Rio de Janeiro, London, New York, an important network to exchange good practices, best practices around the world on how cities actually cope with their own urban challenges. But beyond all those titles and beyond all that experience, I always want to present myself as an urbanaut. Urbanaut is the person who learns by walking around the city, but not walking lonely, walking with community leaders, working with other experts, working with community members, talking and promoting an urban dialogue on how communities actually organize themselves and are able to design their own solutions to their own challenges. I've been so privileged to walk around more than 200 cities around the world, not walking lonely, but with partners of the Resilience Office and many other colleagues around the world, having the opportunity to talk, but to see firsthand how cities and how local communities are designing beautiful solutions to their own challenges. And this long journey took me into 2022 and 23 to the city of Cape Town and to the beautiful neighborhood of Delft and the city of Tshwane and the beautiful neighborhood of Hammanskraal. And having the chance and the privilege to talk to community members and to listen to them, to see with them and through their eyes the models of township development in South African cities. So today I'm invited to talk about urban safety and resilience and how urban safety and resilience actually help to improve township development in South African cities. But before we talk about township development, I always like to clarify what a city is. Cities are not maps, are much more than that. Or cities are not beautiful pictures and images, hygiene images, like these are like the one of Cape Town and Greenpoint. Cities are not iconic buildings. Normally and often we forget townships and the cities. They are also part of the cities. Townships are part of our cities, and there are cities within. But most importantly, cities are people. When we talk about cities and urban development, we're talking about people, people's life. So, what is township development? If we talk about people and people's life, so I would like to share with you 8 principles of township development. First of all, township development and urban development requires integration and social mobility. The townships in South African cities and the South African cities will require, and they will work hard on developing the best integrated transport system possible. Transport systems that allow people to go not only to work or for education and cultural purposes, but to fulfill the gap, the socio-economical gap, and the integration gap that historically we have in our periphery territories like the townships. So Integration transport systems, they are the opportunity for people to get closer to jobs, to the educational infrastructure like universities, schools, to recreational infrastructure like stadiums, schools, swimming pools, and there are the opportunity for a social encounter between citizens. Once you have an integrated transport system that integrates your society and is a social mobility tool, you should develop urban infrastructure with proximity and accessible to people. And that's what we call social urbanism. The base of architecture and infrastructure implemented and developed at community level, in the townships, in the periphery, where people need them the most. Libraries, schools, hospitals, childhood centers, economic development centers, all of them sport facilities to improve people's life. But they should be accessible. We should not allow gatekeeping once you develop good infrastructure for social purposes. They should be accessible, free for all. People could use them freely. In the third place, you need to create mixed use. Mixed use like the one that's being proposed by the Sustainable Livelihood Foundation, that it includes transport facilities with economic corridors, with cultural and youth development centers, with sport facilities, because they allow better people's life. They close to each other, they integrate it, and they facilitate the interaction between citizens. Fourth, we need to have good programming and activation of the infrastructure developed in our townships. We need people and facilitators that are allowed to actually take the base of that infrastructure and open it and activate with good uses, with the best use possible of our public spaces and public infrastructure. There is no any good to have a swimming pool that is closed or that doesn't have facilitators to help people to learn how to swim, or sport facilities, or informatic facilities, technology and communication facilities, if they're not open and they're not actively used, or libraries. We need to promote the best use of our public facilities and our public infrastructure, and that requires facilitators with capacity to promote the use of our public infrastructure. Fifth, it's all about hardware and software. It's not only about the infrastructure. It's about promoting local people to take ownership of the infrastructure, to take care of the public spaces, not allowing vandalism and the destruction of our own capital, our own social capital, which is those public spaces and that public infrastructure. People taking care, cleaning, upgrading, but most importantly, taking ownership of the city, because that infrastructure represents the city and it's our city to take care. Six, we need to promote intergenerational dialogue. Today, we cannot plan the city without the youngsters. We need the youth to be present in the urban planning processes of our city. They need to have a voice, because they will be the ones who will implement whatever is planned today, and they will be the citizens of tomorrow. They will be the users of that infrastructure. They will be the ones who will actually use and take ownership of the public spaces and the infrastructure developed by social urbanism. Seventh, we need coordination, articulation, and collaboration among all public entities. Today, we cannot allow public entities to continue working in silos, lonely. We need a dialogue between public administration, with public secretaries, and for all of them to understand that working together amplifies the power of government and the presence of the public administration in townships and territories. And finally, none of this township development, of urban development, make any sense if we do not have civil society organized and active community participation. Cities are people, and we need civil society to organize themselves at community level, and citizens and community to participate in designing and implementing and taking ownership of our cities, like the example in Delft or Hammanskraal and many other townships, and the privilege that I had when I was there last year with you, looking at the possibilities of designing local solutions for the local challenges of our townships in South African cities. Together we stronger. Together we stronger, but that could not be just a beautiful phrase. It will require our hard work to come together as a citizens with many other institutions to transform our townships and our cities. And all of those principles, they come together through these three dimensions of township development. We need to promote human security, social urbanism, and economic development. All of them, without economic development, they are meaningless. We need our communities to be able to provide by themselves, but we need to help them with education, with training, with capacity building, with human capacity building, so they are allowed to become entrepreneurs, they are allowed to provide businesses and active economic corridors in their own townships and territories beyond informality, beyond these small-scale economies. And they should have the tools and the opportunity to be much more organized. And for that, we need to provide human capacity building. And township development, it will require the hard work of 8 stakeholders all together. Government, entrepreneurs, universities and think tanks, civil society organizations working together, understanding that cultural identity, nature, and the territory are also subjects. They are part of our own territories. They are part of our own life. They actually participate in the development of our society. And finally, integrating the youth and their energy and the elderly and the memory of the townships, so we are able to come together in this multi-stakeholder development alliance. And that will provide a citizen culture that allow us to create a cultural change, a long-term cultural change. But that cultural change will be a turtle race. It will take decades, but shouldn't stop us to work together towards that change, the change of township development in South African cities. Thank you so much.